Hi guys, this is just a basic video on the setup of my Madagascan giant day gecko viv. So basically it's an Exoterra 45 by 45 by 60 high. I've got it set up a little bit like a crested gecko, just a little bit more dense foliage for them. And this one, I don't actually get this lizard out, so I don't need to actually find him and try and get him out unless I really need to. So I can fill it as much as I want. He's in there somewhere, he's just gone down there. He can flee sometimes. He's normally found mostly on the front or on this basking log here. So this is my planted setup. In here I started off with a basic background, which is the cocoa husk at the back. That's attached to the back with a waterproof glue, and then there is a cork tube at the back that goes all the way down to the bottom and sits on the soil. Then I compacted it right up to the top with soil, and then I planted a pothos in there, so the roots will grow down eventually and then into the soil and create a strong root base. What I want is that to then come over and down. In the corner there we have a strong peace lily, and again I have some more peace lilies here. In the corner there I have like a kind of calafia plant which has big strong leaves. I mean, he can take his whole weight and sit on them, and it creates the water when I spray sits in the leaves. He often drinks off that. Moving down I have the coffee arabica plants. There's one smaller there, and that one there is growing quite well. This was just a cutting not so long back, and then another pothos here. Again, it's going to need trimming and pruning at some point, so you just keep on top of it, but obviously the more foliage the better. Now a lot of people use bamboo. I did, but it was just more pain. It was just a pain to me. I didn't like the natural look of it. So this is a solid branch. They're attached in firmly, solid place, and then I've just added this, which puts him in his basking spot. He'll come here sometimes and he'll bask. It's still early in the morning, so it's still warming up in this viv. But this there, if you see there, is my Exoterra sensor, and that's picking up 88.5 and 30% humidity. The humidity is always lower on this one, and I think it's because it's under this direct halogen bulb. This is the Lucky Reptile mini sun bulbs. These ones are the 50 watts. So I think because it dries the air out here, the humidity is always less around there. If you look on that one, 76% at the minute, because I've got the dripper running, and that hygrometer stats is just down the bottom, the sensor for it. So I've got this basking spot there. I miss this regularly with my water mister, but what I tend to do is have this dripper system that I brought. This is just a basic plant irrigation system, and you can alter the drip rate as much as you want. It's just designed to keep plants wet, but all you get in the kit is you get the spout, the plastic, the piercing, the tool to pierce a hole in any bottle you want. This is an innocent smoothie bottle. Don't do what I did though. When you set it up, forget to put a hole in the top, because obviously you need an airflow so it allows the water to fall through. In the corner here I've got a fake plant. I'm just putting that there until these grow a bit bigger. It's just because sometimes he likes to come around here and there's no shelter for him, so he will sit there. But he's getting older now. I've had him since he's a baby, and so he spends a lot of his time either up on this top part of this branch here, which is directly under his 10% T8 Arcadia Desert UV bulb, or he sits down here under his sun bulb warming up, and then he'll move down and sometimes he'll be on here. Going back to the UV, the reason I use the 10% UV is because it's not on the inside, it's on the outside, on top of the mesh. Now, I want to try, the T8 bulbs aren't brilliant anyway. So I've gone up a level in power, purely because it's got to penetrate through this mesh, and it's also a T8 bulb. So I was highly recommended to use the 10%. Whereas you guys, if you're not doing that, or you have it on there, or you've got a T5, or you're having it inside, just use Arcadia's 5% jungle. Substrate is just a mixture of cocoa husk and organic compost, and mixed in there is lots of wood debris, rotting wood, broken up leaves, anything you can imagine. There's even some cardboard in there that I put in there for the wood lice. You can't see the wood lice at the minute. but it is thriving with them. So that's the basic setup with him. You see this outside temperature, it's going cold a bit because I've got the door open. And you see this one is the lowest bottom temperature, lowest ground temperature, right in the corner, furthest away from the heat source. And obviously you've got the same with that one. This hygrometer also has a temperature stat on it. And then this one is set for this bit. I also use I've got a digital thermometer, which I point and aim the infrared beam at, and I take readings from that throughout the day. This can get quite warm here, very warm. It goes up into the 90s, like 92, 93. Okay, so heating wise, at night, obviously, they need additional heat. If your room's not warm enough, unlike the crested geckos don't need that much additional heat. So my room, it drops to about, if you have a look at the minute currently in this room, it is 23.6 degrees. So that's the room temperature in here. At night, I've seen the lowest it drops to is probably about 19, 18 in the winter, the summer, but in the winter it can drop to about 16 in here. It's quite a warm house, hence why I don't bother putting the extra heating on the Cresties, but this guy here just needs that little bit extra. So plugged up to the basic Mini-Stat 100 is the heat map. You can see it just through the glass there, and to stop the heat coming escaping out, I've just used a layer of polystyrene. Okay, and I'll do the same on the other side. That stat is plugged into these two. I haven't overloaded the stat, but that is just basic. It's a low wattage heat cable. Again, on the outside of the glass, I can feel that now. It's nice and warm, and the warmth is coming through. There's a gap between to allow for airflow, so it doesn't put pressure on the glass. It's not a high powered heat cable anyway, and again I use the polystyrene just to stop it going the other way, to bring the heat back in, concentrate heat back into the Viv. On the top, this is basically a little ceramic light unit that I plugged the bulb into, and this was off a light setup from IKEA. The dome works perfect for me. It's a perfect size for these little to fit inside here. And I think I paid about £7 for the light unit, the whole clamp and stand, and all I did was use the shade off it, purely so that sits in the top. Then at the back, if you look on some of my Vivs, or more than 3 of my Vivs, I have got the Jungle Dawn. Now the plants do well in all of my Jungle Dawns. The Jungle Dawn is a brilliant 13 watt, I find is an absolute brilliant bulb. However, if you look in, if you can see, there you go. At the back there, that is an aquarium plant life growth light, designed to penetrate through the layers of the water to help grow the plants on. And I put it in here, and it's doing well. So I'm happy with that, and I paid, I think it was $11.99 for it. And then so in the middle, I've got my UV bulb. There is no polystyrene on the back panel from the mesh, so it allows for some airflow. However, on this one, you can see what I've done. It's just to stop some of the initial heat escaping straight through. On my green tree python Viv, you'll be able to see I've replaced the mesh lid, with a wooden lid, as I did with my Amazon tree barrel. So that stops the heat going, keeps it nice and warm, and that's basically it. So this is my, he hasn't come out yet. You can probably just see him. There he is. He's a bit unsure. He's camera shy. What can I say? Anyway, I keep the dripper going. I only fill it up once a day. I don't want it constantly going all day, because you've got to remember, it's going to eventually put this 750 ml of water into the ground. So I let it just do it once a day. When it runs out, it runs out. But what he tends to do is he'll come under here and he'll lick the water off the droplets, or as they build up there, he hangs underneath and comes and licks them off. Feeding wise for him, I give him mealworms, just in calcium. Sometimes I put them in them pots, sometimes I put them in a little feeding dish, but I find higher up he tends to react better to them. I don't know why, but for some reason he doesn't like going to ground that much to find them. So This is the stuff I give him. I found this all right. It seems to be good. He gets plenty of it. I mix that sometimes in with his food mixes. So food mix wise, obviously I've got the crested geckos. So I've got the Rapashi, crested gecko meal replacement powder, and the Pangeas. The day gecko loves these anyway. This, for some reason, seems to be their favourite. The fruit mix complete with insects. So I mix that in, bit of the calcium powder, bit of water, and what I do, as you can see, he's knocked it off here. Just to make it simple, I collect and save. I'm going to bin that now. That's from last night, and you can already see the cleanup crew going to work on it. That's why it doesn't matter. With a bioactive setup, anything falls on the floor, it's fair game to all the insects and critters in there. But this is what I use. I keep my milk bottle tops because I go through these like you wouldn't believe. I mix enough in there. You believe it don't need that much. You can fill that up. That's plenty enough for your gecko, and I just leave it on the top, and he will take from that. Like I say, he drops it, don't worry. I don't make it too thin, so if it drops, it just splashes everywhere. But it's just enough consistency, and whatever, like I say, whatever falls on the floor, you know the cleanup crew are going to have it. I might just leave it in there for a bit for me. It won't go. If it goes mouldy, don't worry if you've got a bioactive setup. So that is basically it. So I've got a heat mat on the side and the heat cable on the other side. That can take care of the nighttime drop. Or if it gets a bit cold in this room, it'll also kick on in the day, which obviously you can see it has because I've got the doors open. I've got the Lucky Reptile Mini Sun. Got the 50 watt going there. You can have the 35 watts as well, 35 watt or 50 watt. Depends on which one you want and which one you need. I've got the Arcadia T8 Desert 12 and 10% plus UV D3, and I've got the Aquarium Plant Life LED, and that is it. The thing is with day geckos is they like to mess, and just like crested, they like to do that down your glass. Now there's lots of cleaning products out there, but if you're going with bioactive, you've got to be very careful. So what I use is basically lemon juice or white vinegar. White vinegar is cheap enough. Go to a supermarket, buy it. You know, you can even put it in a cheap spray bottle and then just light mist, wipe it down. You get no smears unless you live in a good water area. You know, water wise, any drinking water or water that I want them to drink, my tap water is pretty good, but I'm still not sure. I still don't want chlorine in there. You know, sometimes we should be drinking that. So I just buy this still table water from Sainsbury's, 20p a bottle for 2 litres. That fills up these. I buy a load. God knows what Sainsbury's think I'm doing with the stuff. But I buy a load and I fill my water mister up, and I don't get the watermarks on the glass when I'm spraying. And also I fill the water bowls up for my snakes with it. They drink, and that way they're drinking a bit of a fresher water. Nothing with chlorine or chloramines in it. The crickets. So yeah, he will take crickets sometimes. That's the only time I see him go to ground. If he sees a cricket run across the bottom, he'll go and chase it. I give him mealworms. I give him the powder food. But I also buy my own. I buy the waxworms and I let them pupate into the moths. And when they get the moths, I throw them in there. Absolutely goes berserk for them. And he'll spend his day chasing them around in the air until he gets them. So I hope that's enough information for you. If you need anything else, just send me a message, give me a shout. That's the Madagascan day gecko with phelsulma grandis.